What's up everyone? Today I have a quick premium tank review on the new Marathon premium tank, the Wz-114. So let's take a quick look at the statistics, we'll look at the armor model, and then we'll get into a little bit of gameplay. So I was running full bounty equipment on this tank, so vents, vertical stabilizer, rammer. I was running food, vents directive, brothers in arms, situational awareness, recon. I have one of my good tier 10 crews in it. Anyways, let's get into the stats. Top speed is not very good, only 33, so it is a slow, lumbering heavy tank, which it doesn't actually hurt the tank that much, but it is not one of those standard Chinese heavy tanks like the 113 or the 5A where you can get into position quickly and farm things with your high DPM, because this thing does not have high DPM. With rammer, vents directive, food, and BIA, only 2100 DPM. The base DPM is a little under 1700. This thing has very low DPM for a tier 9. It does have good alpha though, 530, and your reload, you can get it down to about 15 seconds if you have this loadout. The aim time is painful. It is over 3 seconds, even with all of this extra stuff. It is accurate though. It's 0.28 dispersion, and from what I could tell, the soft stats weren't actually that bad. So your bloom wasn't actually absolutely unusably enormous. Looking at the view range, it does have 390 base, so if you don't have the crew skills like situation awareness and recon, you will not get over the 445. The crew layout is similar to the 5A. It is not like the 113. The radio man is on the commander, not the loader. It does have 10 degrees of gun depression though, which is absolutely fantastic on a Chinese heavy tank. It is so comfortable to play because, well, 10 degrees of gun depression is basically the best in the game besides like the Kron and the STB, with a few other exceptions. You've only got 4 over the back of the tank, but you should not be facing the enemy with the back of your tank anyways. So quickly jumping into the armor model. Oh, we'll go over the ammo real quick. So the standard rounds, 266 pen, which is actually pretty good, with good shell velocity of 1271. Though the heat rounds, a little bit slower, 960 with only 311 pen, which only 311, but at this point, the standard is in like the 320s, 330s, 340s. This is a tier 9 premium, so you will make extra credits. So firing premium rounds, you might not want to do it that much, which is why the 266 base pen isn't terrible. So looking at the armor model, we'll go to the live model. The armor looks pretty good against AP rounds. The hull is nothing fantastic. There is a big cupola. So this is what you'd expect from tier 8s and 9s using the standard rounds, same with 10s. This is what your armor model would look like. When you load heat though, it gets a lot worse. So you will get pen through the turret by heat rounds. Remember, there's 311 heat, so anything with a 340 heat would be able to go through a lot more. I was getting penned by tanks through the turret often, especially through the cupola, which is really close to the front and very obvious, so tanks will go through that. You cannot side scrape very well because of the shape of the hull. You can see that it's kind of pike nose like. We'll see that in game just a little bit better than in the tank model viewer. So turret armor is okay. It's slow, big alpha, terrible DPM. Let's get into some gameplay and see what it's actually like. So Erlenberg, there are 6 tier 10s and that would be 9 tier 9s. So not the worst case scenario. Actually, I think this is actually the worst case scenario matchmaking, because it is only +1. So I think this is the most tier 10s you can see. As you can tell with my ammo loadout, I do have quite a bit of AP. If you've seen some of my videos before, you know I like to fire the best rounds available. So if it has APCR as premium, I most likely am firing only APCR. If it has AP and heat, with the heat as the premium, I will load a little bit more AP, but if the heat is still just by far and away is the better round, I'll load way more. In this tank, however, the 311 pen isn't super great, nor is the the standard round with the 266 is actually decent. So as we could tell, this thing is really slow forward, going backwards only 10 kilometers an hour, which again is on the really slow end, so you have to be careful not to put yourself in trouble. I don't know if you guys have noticed that the bloom is actually not that big. The aim time might be awful, but the accuracy is quite good because it's 0.28. It's not normally tied together that way. Now, here you can see me snap a shot. That was not how this gun normally behaves. Lots of people call this gun very derpy, from what I've heard. Personally, I think it's okay. It's a high alpha gun. Here you can just see me doing a little bit more aiming than I normally would because of how long the aim time is. And because it's so accurate, you might as well aim in fully because, well, you might actually hit your shots because it's not like I think it's the 5A where your accuracy isn't actually all that good. You just have such a high rate of fire that you'll probably hit at some point. Now, I still have AP loaded, which works for that shot on the turret. The shell velocity is decent, so you can actually do solid sniping. I am not sure why I loaded another AP round here. I should have switched. Here you can see the awful reload. It's 15 seconds. So far we have learned that it's very accurate fully aimed. It takes forever and a minute to actually fully aim in because of, even with my equipment loadout, it's like 3.4 seconds of aiming. And we've also learned that it has 10 degrees of gun depression, but the armor model, here we can see it's rounded so you can pen stuff, but so you'll bounce stuff, I'm sorry. But on the hull, you can see that it has these kind of flat plates that are angled, so you can't side scrape. So my heat round does go through the 257 as expected. We can get into it a little bit about what I think of tier 9 premiums. I do think it was inevitable. It's just the next progressive step. You have tier 8 premiums. Why not put tier 9 premiums into the game? I do think there should be an entry barrier though. Like, you should have at least 1,000 battles or 5,000 battles, or just something to prevent absolutely brand new players from playing at the top tier right away. So there's a shot showing you why you need to fully aim in. The reticle isn't absolutely enormous, but you're going to miss because you're not fully aimed in. I did forget to mention the alpha. It is actually 530, so it's the same as the E75's and the E100's gun. So there we can see over 500 roll. This thing might not have DPM, but you do have that alpha. What it kind of reminds me of is the 122 TM, the tier 8 Chinese medium tank. Again, it has pretty high alpha. Now, I was surprised that shot pen because it was through the turret, or not the turret, the track, but it was able to go through. But I digress back to the conversation of tier 9 premiums. It was inevitable. I'm glad that the first two so far have been balanced. They're nothing special. They're unique in a sense. The STRVK is a single fire Swedish heavy tank, which it is the only one in the game that I know of, I think. And then this thing is a Chinese heavy with well, good alpha at tier 9, which it has higher alpha than the Wz-114. And actually, this is a good point I want to make. Here you can see that was a cupola shot that just came in. You can also see this shell. This is just a pure turret shot with a T-54's heat rounds. So the turret isn't invulnerable. So there we go, 569 damage. You have no DPM, but your trading ability is actually really good. And that's what I'm starting to figure out is, especially with some of my recent 3-mark escapades, in the current meta, alpha is king. DPM is useful. The key is to be able to out-trade your opponent. And this thing can definitely do that. You have to control the engagement though, because if they rush you, you have no DPM to finish them off. You need to be in a position where you can back off, reload, and then poke again. But so much of the way battles go right now, here you can see me aiming and aiming and aiming and finally firing. And you have to do that to guarantee a hit. Well, make it more often than not a hit. The gun has such a long aim time. And of course the artillery hits me, otherwise I would have hit a side shot on that Type 4. That was kind of annoying. So I know my armor isn't really effective against him, but I can hit his cupola, so just a quick hit there. So back to the discussion on tier 9 premiums. If they continue to add tier 9 premiums that are balanced and not significantly better than the alternative, then I will be fine. But I don't know. Like, they started out with tier 8 premiums the same way, and now we have tanks like the Skoda T56, which is just so much better than anything else out there. So I did die there. I did do 5,700 damage. Unfortunately, Watt Replays is non-responsive. I am unable to upload my replay, so I can't show you guys the post-game stats. I think at this point everything was fixed because there was a micro patch regarding the actual designation of the tank. So it does make premium credits and it does make bonds like tier 10s. So if you're going to make the bonds that you want each week, this is one of those tanks you can do it in, just like the STRV-K. So my overall opinion on this tank, it is solid. It is not super special, very bad DPM. Armor is inconsistent, it's not super good. The only thing that it has going for it is the alpha, which is 530. But I think that's all you need. As the title suggests, alpha is king right now in this meta, and I think this thing will fit right in. It is not going to carry games like super well. As you saw, I did go down early in the battle. We were down a couple tanks and the game is wrapping up and I wasn't able to help my team anymore. But I did get out a decent amount of damage, and at the beginning I was firing only AP. I didn't make as many credits as I would have if I fired all AP, but I also might not have actually penned a lot of the shots that I was firing, so like at the IS-7 or the 257. So it is a bit of a give and take regarding how much premium rounds you want to fire in this tank. If you have the time, go for the marathon. It is not the craziest thing to do. Well, when I say craziest thing, it's not going to be any different than any other marathon. We can jump over to it real quick. So, starts Friday the 28th at 9 Eastern, ends Monday the 7th at 9 Eastern. So you have, I think, 10 days. There we go. So the actual missions, a lot of these are doable. The base XP until 3 is also very doable. Once you get to 4, it gets harder, and then up here it's all like over 30k. I would say if you want to get this tank but you don't want to grind a ridiculous amount, try to get to the 80% mark. That's probably where I'm going to go. Though I'm not sure what the actual price of the bundle will be at this exact moment. You do get the rest of the stuff in the bundle, so it's not like you're only getting the tank. But yeah, I digress. You guys are familiar with marathons. If you have the time and you're going to be playing anyway, do as much progress as you can. See what the discount is. If it's not enough, then this is not one of those tanks that you have to pick up like the Skoda T56. It's one of those that's unique, interesting, tier 9 premium. It's not going to set the game on fire. If you are a collector or you want another tier 9 premium, you can do your best, get to a certain point, or you can grind all the way through. Up to you. Use your time wisely. And like I said, it's a unique tank. You can have fun with it because of the 530 alpha. If you don't like slow tanks with not impenetrable armor, then it's not for you. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any comments, suggestions, anything, feel free to leave a comment, hit the subscribe button, and you can also join my Discord. Anyways, I'll see you guys around.